Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit Show because we're on a mission. The show is broadcast live from the illustrious Radio 1 studio. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and I'm here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. I am not here to save your soul. I'm here to save your business. Maybe your job, but definitely our community. I am a business developer by trade. I help companies get into the business space. People are trying to get their companies off the ground, expand those companies, grow, scale, make more money. That's what I do. I have a company called Gatewood Marketing, Web, and AI. Go to gatewoodmarketing.com to find out more about the company. I'm also an author, written a few books. I'm an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College in the DC area, and a few other things that I do to try to help the business community because that's my purpose, my mission, my reason for being, and I'm glad to be here on this day. Today we are recognizing Black History Month, and I have a theme today. It's called Beyond February. Why Black history can't be seasonal. Just can't talk about Blackness and the challenges and opportunities only 28 days out of the year. And of course, history, we bring out the usual people we celebrate: Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth. And yes, we recognize those people, but we have to make some new history. And my goal is to help make some economic inroads. And that's why I do this show. But we can't just do it on February. We have to do this all year long. We are into 2026, second month of the year. And, it's time to buckle down and get ready for this year. Some things are happening right. The ground is shaking beneath our feet, and you have to buckle down, batten down the hatches, because this is going to be an interesting ride in 2026. We're seeing some things that are challenging, but I like to look at challenges as opportunities. I had a very vibrant group of students over at the college. Matter of fact, I taught a class last night from about 6 o'clock in the evening. And Tuesday, I also did the same thing. I think on Tuesday, I talked about marketing business strategies. And last night, we talked about social media strategies. And the people who were in the class, they had the opportunity to get a certificate. So that's another thing I want to encourage people to do as part of Black History Month, is to keep educating. Don't celebrate, educate. Keep making yourself more attractive to potential partners and clients and employers and so forth. So get that education. I have on my Marketing Pulpit website and a calendar of all the courses I'm going to be teaching this year. I'll be teaching some more courses coming up in February, January, March, and throughout the year. Also, when you're on the website, go ahead and get into the business directory. We have a free business directory. Well, it's not free anymore. I told you to get in while it was free, but now it's only $2.95 a month, but you can cut that by just joining for only $20 a year. 1 year of advertising. We promote you on the show, put you on our website, and that's one more way I'm giving back. I'm not trying to make any money, just trying to cover the cost of the platforms. So do that. Also, go to Gatewood Marketing. That's my website, company's website. And we have some free business tools for business owners. we dabble in the AI now. So as a certified AI designer, I've created some tools. Just go to Gatewood. On the website, you'll see a drop-down menu that says Gatewood AI. And use those free tools. If you're looking for a networking event, if you're looking for content creation, social media calendars, business proposals, all those kind of things, we're offering those free tools. And they're going to be free for a minute, but like I say, at some point you got to cover your costs. And if you go in there and it says run out of credits, it's because a lot of people are using those tools. I have to go in there and dump some money in there anyway to keep those engines going, because all these AI engines, all these agents, they run off platforms, what we call modules like Claude and Gemini and OpenAI and things like that. So we have to pay them, but we build our agents on top of those platforms. It's also American Heart Month, and it's also National Women's Heart Day today, and it's also Women's Heart Week from February 1st to February 7th. So all the ladies out there, let's take care of those hearts, get those checkups, eat right, exercise, and that's advice, good advice for everybody. As we notice, also Black History Month, and it's also National Cancer Prevention Month. And cancer's not playing out here. I am telling you. And this is for the men out there. Get those PSA exams to make sure you don't have prostate cancer. That seems to be, that's like passing around like a cold. It's just so predominant now. So just stay on top of things. I'd like to keep you safe and around for the foreseeable future. Let's see a few things that's happening in the news. Good morning to Brother Brown, the greatest plumber in town, and everybody else who's tuning in. I see people tuning in on YouTube, Facebook. See a few folks on Instagram. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you tuning in this morning. Let's talk a couple quick things in the news. Super Bowl coming up this weekend. I know some people are still mad about Colin Kaepernick, and some people are boycotting the Super Bowl and things like that. But if you're going to be watching, or if you decide to go, some of you might have the long bank. You can get a good seat starting at about $4,000. I just can't. I'm sorry. So starting about $4,000. I think the average price is about $5,000. So hard can't take it. This Super Bowl is a rematch of the Super Bowl 49 in February 1st of 2015, where the Seahawks and the Patriots, where Russell Wilson was down on the 1 yard line. He threw an interception on the 1 yard line. And Coach Pete Carroll, man, people were ready to run him out of town on a rail. But people remember that play because it didn't work. Here we are, 10 years later, people still talking about that play. But that's the wrong lesson from this. It wasn't really as reckless as many people think. It was calculated. Time was short. The defense was stacked. And he thought he'd try something different. He was trying to keep his options alive. If they missed it, if the pass didn't go through, it would have stopped the clock. So he had some calculation, but he took a risk. So I'm never going to be hard on people who took the risk. Same thing with business development, starting a business. I'm going to be harder on the folks that didn't take the risk and always take the safe route. There's a saying called fortune favors the bold. You're not going to be remembered for the risk you didn't take. I'm just telling you. The people that make it, that are talked about, that are successful, they took the risk. I'm just saying. Let's talk about our topic today. Beyond 365, Black History 365, beyond February. But before we get to that, let me give you some backdrop here. You're going to find this interesting. The SBA, the Small Business Administration, this organization that I've had a relationship with about 8 years as a subcontractor. They flying me all over the country and working with companies in the technical space, helping them with social media, helping the 8A program, the SJ program. It's the SBA 8A SJ. I know that's a mouthful, but anyway, that's the program I was working in as a subcontractor. And but this same SBA has announced the suspension of 1,091 firms in the 8A business development program. Now, according to the administration, it's a sweeping effort to dismantle. Man, they saying the bad part out loud. Dismantle DEI, expose fraud, and restore integrity to federal contracting. What you talking about, Willis? That's right. 1,091 firms kicked out. And it was over some type of paperwork. They told them to send in like 3 years of tax returns and some other stuff. But that's how they get you. Because they know a lot of small businesses they're not keen on the paperwork. But that's a trap. They knew darn well what they were doing. They weren't trying to get that paperwork. They were trying to suspend people, and they succeeded. So they told them they gave them January 19th to file the paperwork by this deadline for 3 years of financial documentation. So they ordered all 4,300 firms in the program for this paperwork. And they stated the purpose of this was to dismantle DEI initiatives. This is the same government supposed to be protecting us and supporting us. Of course, they say restore fraud and then expose fraud and then restore integrity. Yeah, right. Okay. So the payments involved about 50% of the suspended firms received federal contracts. And the suspended firms collectively received over $5 billion in payments over 4 years. So that's money that's going to be taken out of the economy of companies that are in the 8A program, which has been set to right the wrongs of companies, of organizations, particularly the African-American companies and the communities that have been historically denied opportunities. So that's $5 billion. Now, they're not all African-American companies. There's women, veterans, and people who have disabilities. And they say additional reforms are forthcoming. Now, this is the part that really make your jaw drop. Like I say, saying the part out loud that they usually just think about. The 8A program, I'm quoting the administrator, Kelly Loeffler. The 8A program was abused during the Biden administration to benefit favored minority groups at the expense of every other legitimate small business owner in America, including white Americans. They actually said that part. And the Trump administration has acted from day one to dismantle discriminatory, I can't even say it, agenda that has put white small business owners at a disadvantage. I mean, they're just coming out and saying it. And to crack down on fraud and corruption that proliferates within the DEI programs. And Pete Hegseth, I can't even say his name, with the Department of War, he said, we're going to bring the sledgehammer down on the largest DEI program, which is the 8A program. Now, regardless of your politics, you have to admit, that's pretty dramatic. Which is a segue into my topic for today. Now, I'll tell you what kind of sets with me the wrong way is that I didn't beat the drum long enough or hard enough that this might happen. One of my partners, William Maxwell, we used to talk about this on how some of the businesses in the community have gotten too comfortable depending on these set asides. And in the 8A program, about 25% of the government contracts are set aside for disadvantaged business owners, and that in that group was African Americans, like I said, also women, veterans, and people with disabilities, and a few other groups. And the other part that kind of rubs me the wrong way, I was a part of this program for many years as a consultant. When the mission was really closer to the stated mission was to go out and help these companies who were struggling. I will say that when I was acting as a consultant, I was surprised how many of the companies that I consulted were not African American. They were not small. They were not Black small businesses. Most of them were veterans or women-owned businesses, and I was to see a Black-owned business was kind of a minority, but no pun intended. So this has been happening slowly, but now it's out in the open. So let's back up now. Of course, all Black small businesses are not part of the 8A program. They're just regular mom and pop operations out here trying to make ends meet. And thank you to everybody else listening. Once again, good morning, Denise, and Happy New Year to you. And thank you for the kind words. She said, thanks for sharing my marketing expertise. I try. Thank you, William. William said a lot of people didn't plan what you're supposed to do after 8A. And I mean, let's look in the mirror now let's be real. Many of the companies that got into the program did not think of what would happen. I think you're in the program for 9 years, and many of those companies didn't take advantage of the time they were in the program. Now, many did, because some of those same people were my client. There's a CPA firm in my building right down the hall. They were in the program for many years. They did phenomenal things. I mean, they were sharp. They had the defense contracts, the FAA contracts, the Department of Labor. They had them all. And they brought me in, of course, as a consultant, sometimes help them on those contracts. And they did what you were supposed to do. They hired people in the community. They built infrastructure. They followed the blueprint of how the program was designed. Some people didn't do that. Spent a lot of time, lavishing and buying cars and going on trips and things like that. And I will say that was probably the minority of the clients, no pun intended. Most people did the right thing, but I think everybody probably could have done a little better. Everybody could have done a little better. They could have done a little bit more to make sure the impact was felt throughout the community. And but they're not kicking everybody out today. Well, 1,091, they are. The ones that are still in the program, it's not too late to do the right thing and to make sure that your impact is felt by others, and that you don't try to enrich yourself too much. I mean, you got to pay yourself a nice salary and things like that. But I've never been one, whether it's a Black business, a white business, or other, that the owner should be living and flying around the country in private jets while the workers are out here struggling. So this is interesting. I'm kind of looking at this thing from government is, I think it's taking a very detrimental and unfair approach. I think they're covering up, they're doing something, they have an agenda, and it's not to get rid of fraud. If you want to get rid of a fraud, start at the top, okay? Don't pick on small Black businesses. Well, let's okay, we are where we are. What are we going to do about it? That's what Joe Madison used to say over Radio 1 and Sirius XM. He passed away a couple of years ago. Miss Old Joe. Also, this is the anniversary of the passing of Neely Fuller Jr. Another great person, died on the first day of the month a year ago. Let me just give you some advice. And like I say, I'm kind of kicking myself. And I have to look in the mirror and say, did I not beat the drum louder and harder because I was part of the system? I don't think so, because when I was in the program, that in the SBA program as a consultant, it aligned with my mission of helping small businesses, not just black businesses, but helping small businesses. And that's what I did. I didn't enrich myself. I didn't get rich. I didn't buy yachts and fancy cars. I hired people, and I enabled other companies to hire people. But I do feel that we all could have been more intentional about making sure that people who are in the program were better prepared when they left the program. And I don't think anybody thought, let's say last year or 2 years ago, that this sledgehammer was going to come down and just kick people out because they didn't provide 3 years of financial documents. I mean, where is the compassion? Why don't you say, look, all right, you didn't give us your 3 years of documents. Let's get in here and show you how to do it. Let's show you the right way. Do we need to provide assistance? Let's bring in some consultants, help you understand how this process works. But to kick people out and put people out of work, that's going to have a detrimental impact on our community. So I think it's kind of cruel. It's kind of cruel, actually. But so much cruelty is going on now. It's become the norm. Let me just tell you this, okay? So the question is, it's not who's going to save black businesses. The question is, how are we going to build leverage and save ourselves? The day of somebody coming along on a white horse, I say that pejoratively, to save anybody, as we can see, those days are over. Even if there's a new administration tomorrow, we shouldn't go back to business as usual. On this Black History Month, people are starting to reevaluate some of the decisions, some of the things that have happened, like going all the way back to the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 65 Voting Rights Act and things like that. Even Dr. Martin Luther King said before he passed away, I regret some of the decisions that I made. I feel like I integrated my people into a burning house. Those things happen. Those are milestones. But we learn. That's why we have history. We learn and we adjust. Today, we're facing another milestone. The carpet is being pulled from under some small Black-owned businesses who relied heavily on government assistance, on programs that were designed to help historically disadvantaged companies. That's a noble objective. That's the right thing to do in a land of plenty. But we can't depend on it. That's the difference. You can't depend on people to do the right thing when they have constantly shown you that they're not going to do the right thing. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the hammer is going to drop. And I don't think it's over, to be honest with you. So anyway, enough of that. Treat Black History Month as an opportunity. An opportunity, a window of opportunity. Not just like a holiday. No celebrating, no jumping up and down and carrying on. Turn this attention into dollar signs. Put services together, packages, offers. Let's go make some of this money, okay? You control the narrative. That's another piece of advice. Don't sit around waiting on somebody to choose you, whether it's the government or anybody. Start telling your own story, writing your own narrative. What's good about your company? What separates you? What's your unique value position? Your unique selling proposition? What's your expertise? The value you bring? Start beating that drum loud and clear. Shift from dependency to diversification. Expand your options. Okay, the government is one place where you can get some love, but there are other opportunities. There's the private sector. There's partnering. There's joint venturing. Going directly to the consumer, creating additional sales funnels, expanding your product reach, your service reach. And this, I say this, and I have a client that's actually doing this as we speak. Monetize your expertise. Educate. There are people who need the knowledge that's in your head. Monetize it. This young lady, she's a CPA. She's been with the government many years. She's thinking about retiring. She's getting out of it a good time, really. But monetize all this knowledge. If you say you were in these programs and you were qualified and you had all that in a bag of chips, then it shouldn't be that a big stretch to leverage that knowledge and expertise in the private sector. And one way to do that is through education, workshop, training, use some of this technology, expand your platform instead of just trying to reach people in the DC area. You can expand your reach around the world. People need that knowledge. Build coalitions, not just customers. So the time you're working on trying to get that one customer, I've been saying this forever. Build a coalition with other companies. That's really has been my secret sauce to success. I have a coalition with the Prince George Community College, with BLE, with Bowie Innovation Center. The list just goes on and on and on, because I understand you go after customers, you get one sale. You build a coalition with an organization, they will send you multiple sales. You want to be that go-to person. So start reaching out to some of these companies where you may know somebody on the inside, and get on their list, get on their vendor list, get on their training list, get on their workshop list. Some may not even pay you. Don't worry about that. Matter of fact, one called me the other day. They said, Gabriel, we're not going to pay him. Look, that little money you're going to pay me is not even worth it half the time. I want to get on the inside. I want that influence. I want that credibility, that brand. That's more than a couple of $100 you're going to give me to sit up here and talk to somebody for an hour or two. Got to change the way you're thinking, okay? And I'm gonna put a bow on this. I can go on all day, but I'm just gonna close by saying, think like an institution, not just a sales phone. Programs can be taken away, as we've seen. But your intellectual property, your relationships, your skill sets, that's something that you own. That will survive a policy shift. An administration. Somebody wakes up tomorrow and says, hey, look, there's a new sheriff in town, you're out. But if you spend some time building your infrastructure, your financial underpinning, your relationships, and create an institution. And sometimes these things happen organically. It's not even your stated goal. You just do the right thing. I say this every day when I do this show. If you want to be successful, do the right thing. That means do the right business, go after the right customers, do it professionally. I also say do it at the right time. So make sure you're putting your services out here. Look at what's happening. We call that listening, paying attention, reading the room. And you have to do a little research. Understand the industry life cycle, that every industry goes through this cycle. The introduction, the growth, the maturity, and the decline. And if you're in an industry that's at the apex, it has grown to the point where it's no longer growing and it's starting on the downside, you have to know when to shift. These are foundational things about marketing that gets beyond just trying to get the next sale. Marketing is a process. That sale is just a byproduct. But if you do your marketing right, the sales will come. Just know that. So to wrap things up here, Black History Month is not about waiting on permission or programs or somebody to give you something. Even though it's old, yeah. I'm not going to be ashamed to say that. Yes, we've earned every penny. But you can't take that to the bank. Until it's given to you, you can't take it to the bank. So we have to survive whether somebody else believes that or not. It's about positioning, ownership, systems, education, leverage, partnerships. So yes, the 8A program is on the way out, but it's a reminder to us that visibility without infrastructure is fragile. But if you can build a strategy, make the right alliances, be vigilant, that can be permanent. So we're going to be okay. But we got to move. We got to act. Speaking of acting, if you're in the DC area, come on out to the First Friday networking event. We're going to talk about this a little more on building those alliances. Now, if you're a business owner, you have to put yourself in the room with people who align with your objectives, your goals, your business, people that can help you. Networking is not just about going out there getting a free lunch and handing out business cards. It's about making connections. It's about getting resources. It's about sharing what you have and what you know. I go to these networking events. I'm not looking for anything from anybody. I go to share what I have and what I know and hope that somebody would take that, run with it, and go help somebody else. In that spirit, networking could be the best thing ever happened to you. It's about reciprocity. It's about givers gaining. And that's a spirit we're going to have in about 30 minutes over at BLE 9701 Apollo Drive in the Washington, D.C. area in Largo, Maryland. I'll be down there looking just like I'm looking right now. I might comb my hair. So come on out. We'll feed you. Give you some nice Panera bread, something to drink, and we'll have a big old collective hug. It's going to be all right. That's going to wrap it up for today. I'm Robert Gatewood. Go to my website, gatewoodmarketing.com. Take advantage of some of those free tools. Go to Marketing Pulpit. You can see my schedule. You can also see the First Friday flyer. Come on out. You don't have to register. I'm just going to say, if you want to come on out, Mr. Brown, I'll see you there, my friend. Come on out there, Brother Brown. Brother Brown is a great, great guy. Come on out. Anybody else? Come on out. Even if you can't get there by 11:30, if you can get there by noon, we'll hold a seat for you. You have to bring some chairs out the back room. That's okay. Come on out. And as I always say, besides, we're going to be all right. If you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. But the Brown knows what they are. You have to do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you must do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.